Good evening, everybody. My name is Steve Knutson, and I work for Fairfax County's Department of Transportation. And I want to welcome you here tonight to this meeting to discuss the traffic calming plan for Southwick Street. And we can start off with introductions. And we have from FCDOT, Banaz, Grace, and Nicole. And then from the Providence District Supervisor's Office, we have Patricia Leslie. And Nicole does have a short presentation to run through, and we'll then do a Q&A afterwards. So Nicole, if you're ready, you can go ahead and start the presentation.
Certainly. Thank you, Steve. Okay, well, welcome everybody to the meeting tonight. We are here to discuss the traffic calming plan for Southwick Street. Just a couple notes. Please note that this session is being recorded and may be shared on social media. Please hold all questions until the end of the presentation, and instructions on how to ask your questions will be provided at the end of the presentation. Okay, so to discuss why we are here, today we are here to explain the traffic calming process, provide an opportunity for the community to give feedback, and answer any questions that you all might have. What is traffic calming? Traffic calming is installation of physical devices to reduce vehicle speed. These devices can be either vertical or horizontal. Vertical devices can be driven over, such as speed humps, shown in the upper left-hand image, while you drive around horizontal devices, such as a raised median island up in that you can see up in the right-hand image. Both the types of devices make the road safer for both pedestrians and drivers. We would like to also note that through this process, we are not permitted to install stop signs. Here we have charts and images showing the effects of decreased speed. As decreased speed or as speed decreases, visual acuity, field of vision, and depth perception increase. Also, with reduced speed, we come to a significant reduction in number of severity of crashes involving motor vehicles. So here we have a map showing all installed traffic calming devices throughout the Fairfax County. We have over 200 projects resulting in over 500 installed traffic calming devices throughout the entire county. And each district has a device, so chances are that you have driven over them are pretty high. The upcoming program can be broken up into 5 steps. So step 1 is project initiation. Step 2 is plan development. Step 3 is community engagement. Step 4 is ballot phase. And the final step is project installation. So to start with step 1, all traffic calming projects are always community initiated. So we start the process with a request from the community to the supervisor's office. Once we receive that request, we will first complete a basic eligibility review. Then we will move on to conducting a traffic study. And if the subject road qualifies for both basic eligibility review and traffic study, the community will then form a task force. There are eligibility requirements that need to be met. The road must be VDOT maintained, have a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, be functionally classified as local, collector, or arterial. And if it's if it's a collector or arterial, it needs to be a residential street. And so now we can move on to the traffic study components. Here we have the result for Southwick Street. For the volume criteria, we need between 500 and 6,000 vehicles in 24 hours, both directions combined. So for Southwick Street, we had 1,597. So we met the volume criteria. And for the speed criteria, the 85th percentile of speed needs to be greater than or equal to 35 miles per hour. This means that 15% of vehicles need to be traveling 35 miles per hour or faster in at least one direction of travel. So the 85th percentile speed that we found in the eastbound lane is 37, and in the westbound lane, it's going to be 35. So we met the speed criteria as well for Southwick Street. So moving on to step 2, which is plan development. First, we will conduct a site visit in the field in order to develop a draft plan. Once we have that draft plan, we will meet with the task force to get feedback and then amend the plan if necessary. Once the task force is satisfied with the draft plan, homeowners directly adjacent to any proposed measure will need to sign off on the placement of the device in order to move forward to the next step. Okay, here we have device placement requirements. Based on the guidelines, we need a minimum of 300 feet between measures from existing stopping conditions. We need a minimum of 150 feet from any intersection, and we need a minimum of 150 feet for adequate sight distance with any device. We also have to take an account for the existing roadway. So we have to take an account for any driveways, manholes, utilities, and also the grade of the road. So based on those requirements, we were able to draft a plan. We were able to propose 2 speed humps on Southwick Street, as you can see on the map here. And the addresses that are listed here are the ones that have signed off because the device is directly adjacent to their homes. Here we have a graphic showing a speed hump. So the speed hump is 12 feet long and 3 inches high at center. And here we are showing the speed hump schematic. As said before, it's 12 feet long and 3 inches high at center. There will be white chevrons in each travel lane and speed hump signs with recommended speed of 15 miles per hour on either side of the device. Step 3 is community meeting. Which we're here today. This is where we present the plan for community to obtain feedback. Based on the feedback, the task force will decide whether they want to amend the plan or proceed to ballot phase. If the task force decides to move forward, we then can move forward to ballot phase. So ballot phase, each household in the ballot area will receive 1 vote. They will need to send it directly to the district supervisor's office. The ballot period or the ballot time period will be open for a minimum of 3 weeks. And the supervisor's office will tally the votes and notify the task force of the results. Here we have an example of a ballot. The proposal device or the proposed devices will be listed on the ballot and the community will be voting on the entire plan. The task force is responsible for distributing the valid packages to everyone in the ballot area. So there are 3 ways that you can return your ballot by the deadline. 1 is you can mail in your ballot. 2 is you can hand deliver it to the supervisor's office. And 3, you can email it to the supervisor's office. Please do not return your ballots to the task force, and please use one of the 3 methods listed above. So here we have the ballot area map for Southwick Street. There are 129 ballots, and in order for the proposed plan to move forward, we will need greater than 50% of all households to vote in favor. So this means we'll need 65 yes votes for the plan to move forward. So if we get the right required number of yes votes, we can move on to step 5, which is a project installation, which is our final step. The traffic calming plan will be presented to Fairfax County Board of Supervisors for endorsement, and then the resolution will be sent to VDOT. Once endorsed and accepted by VDOT, we will work with the Department of Public Works and Environmental Services to schedule installation. And finally, the traffic measures on that plan will be installed. So here we come to the end of the presentation. We can now move on to questions and answer session. All right, you have 2 options, either chat or speak. Once that item is activated on Teams, you can use it by typing in your question. And if you want to speak, please click the raise hand icon and you will be sent an unmute request once once it's your turn to speak. And please click allow to be unmuted. If you are calling by phone, please push *5 to raise your hand. When it's your turn, the host will call on you to ask your question. You will need to push *6 to unmute yourself. And after you're finished, please push *5 to unraise your hand. Okay, and now we can move on. Thank you very much.
And Grace, I do believe that Sue Schumann wanted to say a word or two before we started. Is that correct, Sue? Did you still wish to speak?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone here, and I do see that several from the task force are at this meeting. So thank you certainly to the county staff because we have been through this before and we may be going through this again. Thank you for your patience with us and your professionalism. And Jackie DeCicciello has been leading this task force. Perhaps she would like to have a question. There is someone else with a question. Thank you.
Yeah, I do believe that Larry has his hand up, so.
Larry, I'm going to send you a request to unmute yourself. It should be coming your way.
I'm unmuted now.
You are, we can hear you.
Great. So we just found something interesting after the the speed humps were put in place on Glenbrook a few months ago, which is that it has led to a lot more traffic and speeding on Hamilton a few blocks away. So my question is, when the county does a study for something like this, do you also look at the potential for what that will do to neighboring streets?
I mean, we do try to take it into consideration. Obviously, I think Southwick is a little bit different than, I'm sorry, the other street we just installed. I forgot the name of the street.
Hamilton.
Well, it's Hamilton that's receiving the traffic, I believe.
Glenbrook is the
Glenbrook. So, I mean, Glenbrook and Hamilton do kind of make the same connection. I think that Southwick is a little bit different as it is like the main entrance into the community here off of Prosperity. So I'm not sure that the traffic is going to have too many other places to go to in this instance. But I mean, generally, you know, we don't take it into consideration as much as like when we're doing cut-through restrictions, because we're not trying to displace traffic. We're just trying to get them to slow down a little bit.
Okay, thanks.
And Steve, I think we have in the chat box that people are having issues getting into the meeting. I'm going to see if I can try to amend this. I think Jacqueline said that she was unable to see the slides until just now. I'm not sure if that was the case for everyone, and I'm hoping not, but it is being recorded as well.
And we did send the PowerPoint with the slides out to the supervisor's office. Patricia can distribute that after the meeting. And
Yeah,
so
thank
Yes, it was
Jacqueline,
sent to Sue, and
Correct.
Jackie should have received it.
I am going to put that out to the community. Thank you. That helps. I'm not sure why Jim Oppenheimer can't get in. I see that.
A lot of the time also, if they have some kind of firewall on their personal machine, it won't allow you to log in without allowing pop-ups on the specific team.
okay, and Jacqueline has a question.
Yeah, let me send her a request to unmute. Let me try again. So hopefully it'll send you a new one. Oh, not camera. Okay, should have just been sent your way.
And Jacqueline, if you're not able to unmute yourself, if you would like, you can put your question in the chat. I'm sorry we're having these issues tonight. It's normally not taking this long for the unmute function to work.
Could she email her question to someone?
I think she might be typing it into chat right now, but
Okay.
it hasn't quite come through. It doesn't look like it's showing up. She's in the chat, but
Okay,
okay.
she says, yeah, she says she's having technical difficulties, but I think that is definitely happening more than one person right now. So sorry about that, guys.
I don't know if Jacqueline would like to log off and try to log back in, if that would help.
So Jacqueline writes in, so we will have the ballot sent to us.
So we will send the templates of the ballots to you, and you just need to fill out like the cover letter information if you want to make any modifications to it, and then submit that back to the county, and we'll take a look and verify that the cover letter is okay. And then once we have the ballot template and the cover letter all set to go, you will need to then produce the ballot packet and send them to all the addresses in the ballot area. And so generally with the ballot packet, we would have the cover letter, the ballot, the schematic of the devices that are being voted on, or presented, and then also the plan where the devices are located. So those would be the 4 items that would be included in the ballot packet. Okay, and she says, thanks.
I just sent Jim Oppenheimer, phoned him and sent him a link. I'm not sure why he can't get in. He is quite technically astute. So we'll see if he can make it, but he lives right there at the corner, Steve, so he really does want to be in part of this.
Okay, we're sorry. We apologize that we're having so many issues. It has in the past, generally people have been able to get in, and it has been getting a little more glitchy using this Teams platform as we, move forward. But like I said, it is being recorded, and also we will have, the slides available for distribution.
Thank
And
you.
also we can go ahead.
Sorry. Jackie has a good question in there that we had discussed.
That would be something, I guess, up to Patricia. So Jacqueline is asking, can we be present at the ballot counting? And Patricia, I mean, you're generally going to be the one that's, counting and tabulating the ballot results. So I don't know if you want to answer this question.
Well, I count the ballots every day as they arrive. So,
Okay.
I mean, if she wants to come in like one day a week and we can save the ballots until, she gets there, we can set up a time. Of course, that way the results are not going to be known as quickly.
Correct. So, Jacqueline, I mean, basically, Patricia's receiving these ballots over probably a period of 3 to 4 weeks. Some of the staff members will wait until the ballot period is closed and then count them all at one time. And then some will count them as they come in. So it does sound like Patricia is counting them as they come in. She can accommodate your request if you're that interested. So that would be something that you can work with Patricia with to make that determination how you want to work that out. So, generally we're going to have a minimum of 3 weeks for the ballots to be open. It looks like, whoops, let me back up just for a second. It looks like Larry did have a question. So can you present a timing scenario? My concern is wanting to avoid July and August for the voting period. So basically, you can move to the ballot process fairly soon after this meeting if you feel comfortable doing so. We can probably have the templates out to you and the packet ready to be, produced and sent out in the next couple of weeks. And that would get it done before the end of school. And so we would generally leave, Jacqueline, the ballot process open for a minimum of 3 weeks, but it is a fairly good sized ballot area. If you want to leave it open for 4 weeks or 5 weeks, we can do so. We just need to identify that closing date on the ballot and the cover letter. Does that answer your question, Larry, and answer your question, Jacqueline? Okay. And Sue, this was a question from a community member on the ballot counting. Does that mean how long the ballot is open, or is it, can they attend while they're being counted?
It was who counts them, and were you present when they were counted? And the answer was the supervisor's office does them, and that's Patricia, who we trust. But you know, this was a transparency question. Were you actually there for them? That is why Jackie did ask it. It was one thing that came up after Glenbrook that we're just asking now. And on the timing, yeah, Jackie, we can discuss this, the task force, after this meeting. But, you know, summer's not a great time. So probably keeping it open, Steve, as you suggest, just a little longer than 3 weeks makes sense. Oh, I think others are here now.
And yeah, I mean, and Jacqueline is asking if we can get it done by May 22nd. May 22nd might be a bit of a push. We can go ahead and try to get those templates to you, you know, at tomorrow or at the beginning of next week. You know, I would try to leave the ballot process open for maybe 4 weeks. And then, you know, if you work backwards from May 22nd, 4 weeks is going to be pretty soon. And we might not have time to get the ballots produced and delivered in time to get it done by May 22nd. So it might be going to a little further into May or the beginning of June. So does that make sense, Jacqueline? I'm sorry that we're having this problem with the questions, but. Okay, well, and we will start to work on the ballot packet, get those templates to you, it sounds like, as soon as we can. And that is kind of like the next step for this process would be making the determination. If you want to go to ballot, it sounds like you do. And then the timing of it. And again, you know, we'll get those templates out to you as soon as we can. Then I think we do need a determination on who's going to vote in this ballot process, if we want the homeowners to vote or if we want the occupants of the address to vote. It has to be one or the other for the whole area. So if you make the determination that you do want the homeowners to vote, I believe that you probably have an address list for the property owners, but if you do not, we can help with that. We can get you the address where the tax bill goes to, but I think that you guys probably have those addresses. And or if you would like to just have the occupant vote, then we would just mail it directly to the street address in the ballot area.
You mean that we would to the address, and yeah, we came up with this also on Glenbrook, you know, renter or owner. So I'm sure it would be the same thing. I think there aren't that many rentals in this particular area.
You think there's not any? Is that correct?
There are some, but I do not think there are many. Larry's got a good question there. And well, this is the community meeting. We did have it in the newsletter.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it was advertised to the ballot area in some fashion or form, you know, then, you know, we can move forward to the ballot. As long as we have a community meeting and the meeting was advertised for a minimum of 2 weeks before the date.
What happened with Glenbrook, which was successful, was that a half-page flyer and the actual places where the speed humps would be put were given that we did and that the task force delivered with the ballot. So that did help. And then a lot of door knocking and talking to people about it. So Larry, your question is, did everybody get notified? Probably not every single person, but as the ballot is given out, that information will also be given to them. And Jackie, we can work on that after this decision on the ballot.
Yeah, so we would need to know before we put together the address list for the ballot distribution, if it is the occupant or the property owner.
Is that a decision you need tonight?
No, no, it's just a decision before we send out the address list. So we can be working on the ballot template and stuff like that as we're waiting for that decision.
Yes, and Patricia worked with us on this for Glenbrook. Let me bring something up on property records because this happened since January. Some addresses you just get name withheld by request. Obviously, when you buy a house, you can request that your name not be there. So there are some cases like that. So in cases like that, we could just do it simply to the address.
Yeah, I mean, generally, I would assume that most task forces send it out to just the address. It can get confusing if you try to send it to a name. I think Nicole, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought we did have like a conflict on one task force that was trying to include the name with the mailing address, and we were getting some bounce backs.
Yeah, so some of the information or the names that were on it did not match up with the homes, or they would send it out to the names doing for, what was it? I'm not, can't remember if it was the occupants or homeowner receive, but it kind of did show up to be quite messy.
Yeah, so I mean, we might want to just stick with the address on the mailing. I know it sounds, yeah, so it'd probably be best to, resident of the address. So we might not want to include that name on the mailing.
Mm-hmm. And we find it as effective as you can say, I mean, if you're voting for homeowner, and correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, but you can say, address it to the homeowner of so-and-so, or, if you are doing it to occupants, you can just say resident of.
Yeah, that should work.
Sue, this is Patricia. You'll remember that for Glenbrook, the ballots were sent to the residents, not the homeowners specifically.
Yeah, and I think this makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you were helpful with the couple that we had, only 5 or 6 that we cleared up then because of turnovers and houses being sold and military families coming back. That worked well, Patricia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think Jacqueline just said, I think just the address, and that probably is the best way to go. And so Nicole did just bring up a page here that has some contact information if you all have questions afterwards. So for the Department of Transportation at Fairfax County, we have an email address where you can send questions to. It's dotinfo@fairfaxcounty.gov, and just put in the subject line the Southwick Street traffic calming, or you can call us at 703-877-5600 and ask to talk to somebody about the Southwick Street traffic calming project. Then the same should go for the Providence District Office. So it's just providence@fairfaxcounty.gov. Subject line is the same, Southwick Street traffic calming, or you can call 703-560-6946 and ask to talk to somebody about Southwick Street traffic calming, or ask to talk to Patricia. And we should be able to answer any questions, hopefully, that come in either by phone call or by email.
And I did see that some people were trying to get in, and it looked like they were having technical difficulties of staying on. So, like I stated before, this is being recorded. Anybody that has been invited to this meeting and has access to the chat, once that we're finished and done recording, the recording will be made available. So you should be able to click on it that way. And as Steve said, you guys can definitely just reach out to us if you have any questions, or if someone's trying to get in and they weren't able to, definitely feel free to send them our direction or Patricia's direction, and we can answer any questions that they might have.
And it's still light outside, enough to go have dinner on the patio, people. Thank you, everyone, for this, and we will do on our end. Jackie and I will talk after this meeting about that date stuff, Stephen, and get right back to you. Thanks.
Okay, and it does seem that there aren't any more questions coming in. We really do apologize about the kind of the glitchiness of logging into tonight's meeting. We're not sure what happened or why we were having so much problem communicating with the people that were on board. But hopefully with the information that we are sending to you, what we discussed and what we were able to talk through in the chat, it answers most of the questions. And if you do have follow-up questions, you can send those to those contacts, contact email or phone number. And Sue just said that she will share out the PowerPoint slides. Okay. All right, I guess we are done for this evening, and as Sue recommended, we should all try to get outside and enjoy the last few minutes of daylight. So good night, everybody, and take care.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you, all of you. Good night.
Bye. Great meeting you all. Per normal. Thank
Good night, Patricia.
See you soon. You're welcome.
Okay. Have a good night,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Thanks.
Good night.
Thanks.